Those who don't know history are doomed to repeat it. This is especially telling right now, as I just read a Marketwatch article which stated that 36% of millennials had a favorable view of communism. Communism has been one of the great evils of our world. In the name of creating utopia, it has slaughtered nearly 100 million people around the globe, imprisoned far more, and created massive, massive amounts of misery. Whenever you go to a former communist country, you will see the effects of this horrific regime that took hold, that took power. This is why I stress the importance for young people to travel, to be able to be exposed to other paradigms of the world. Whereas in today's education system, they are teaching how horrific America is. You have to put that not in comparison to utopia, as I often say, but into relation of what actually has existed throughout the world. Look, Nazism. We all know that Nazis were evil, that they slaughtered millions and millions of people, that they sent people to the gas chambers. What you don't know is that communism killed so many more people, that Hitler ranks third in terms of the number, of people killed. In terms of the mass murderer list, Hitler only ranks number 3. Above him, Stalin, and above Stalin, Chairman Mao, who still somehow is revered in China because you have the same communistic garbage government that is running it. The totalitarians that even today are harvesting organs from Muslims in the western part of the country. Uyghur organs are being sold to Saudi Arabia. You need a kidney? China will sell you one. Millennials, 36% of you are in favor of communism. This is a demonstration of our education system absolutely failing us. If you've never read the Gulag Archipelago, you should. Similar to today's world, Stalin once gave a speech and he was given a standing applause naturally. And the person who finally sat down first was sent to the gulags because he was deemed a threat, because he was deemed as not party loyal enough, because he was the first person who sat down following the speech. If you aren't with us, you're against us. And if you show the slightest sign of dissent, then we will send you elsewhere. This is communism, totalitarianism, where the individual doesn't matter. Only your power is derived from the group that you belong to. This is the opposite of liberty. This is the opposite of the values that America was founded on. And when Ilhan Omar and Rashida Tlaib the other day says that we have to tear down the system, this is exactly what they mean. The system that favors individual liberty. You want to defund the police. The police, fire. These are some of the public goods. But if you wanted to say it, you could say that they've been socialized. You disband the police, you defund the police, and in its place will become tribal warlords. That's what happened in the Chaz. You run that little experiment in Seattle and you see what took place. You see how they took the power into their own hands. You see how many people ended up getting shot. It is horrific what they want to do. It is not that easy to build. It is so easy to destroy. You want to build up the World Trade Towers? Fantastic. Look how long it takes. Look how little effort it takes. You fly one airplane into a World Trade Tower and it is destroyed, eviscerated, gone from the face of the earth. Look how long it takes to build something like that. It's been eons and eons of time before we've created the system that we have today that works relatively well. And again, compare America to the rest of the world. Compare the heterogeneous population which exists in America compared to the homogeneous population that existed in Scandinavia before they allowed in the Syrians and refugees from the Middle East. And it is not nearly as peaceful right now. So good luck replicating America from scratch. It's not possible, but you want to tear down the system. Communism is one of the great evils that this world has ever seen. It's not even that great on paper because essentially you are robbing somebody else of their hard-earned goods and giving it to somebody else. but at least it's not Nazism, which advocates for the destruction of individual races, which kind of is what's happening right now in America in terms of how the racial tides are turning. Nevertheless, let's concentrate in on communism. Again, you get sent to the gulags. Do you know how many people got sent to the gulag archipelago, as Alexander Solzhenitsyn's book deemed it? Because he had little gulags all over the place. These places were absolutely horrific. I've read half of the books, one and a half of the 3 volumes, and the stories are beyond disconcerting. It's a tragedy that people in America believe that communism is a force for good. Just take a look at the numbers. 40 to 60 million people killed. Pol Pot in Cambodia tried to institute communism. He killed anybody who was wearing glasses because that demonstrated the fact that they had enough money to afford glasses and the fact that they might be a threat to his utopia that was created. In his utopia, he ended up slaughtering over a quarter of all Cambodians. I have literally gone to the killing fields there and picked bone fragments off the ground. You can see the trees where they just, in order to save bullets, they smash babies' heads into the trees. I don't know of anything more evil than that. The individual doesn't matter. It is the ethos of the group, the creating utopia. And people will say, hey, in order to create a utopia, sometimes you have to smash a few eggs. In the refrain of George Orwell, well, where is this omelet that you've been trying to create? Where is this omelet? Wherever communism has been tried, it has been an abject failure. And I want to imprint this onto the minds of any millennial who's on the fence about this. Go to these countries, go to Russia, and you will see in the older faces the effects of communism, the permanently etched frown lines that exists there, the lack of hope, the increased use of alcohol. There is a reason why these former communist countries have some of the greatest per capita uses of alcohol in the world. The Czech Republic, where I used to live, you can still see that today. And it's been years since the Berlin Wall fell. These people are not anxious to give up their hard-earned liberties, where you cannot say the slightest thing against the state. And if you don't think that's already taken place, just look at what happens if you say something politically unpopular that the left will go out of their way to try to cancel you for. This is what's taking place on Twitter. This is what's taking place in organizations and pussy-ass businesses that will not stick up for their individual employees for fear of being canceled. If everybody stuck up and said something, then they would not have this power. And yet they continue to grow that snowball as it rolls downhill and engulf more and more people into their toxic ideology. Communism is a poor answer to whatever problems the United States might face today. And I truly fear that it is making a resurgence because of what is being taught in schools. You are not destroying the World Trade Center with one sonic boom of an airplane smacking into it. No, you're pouring acid in on the inside, and all the halls are starting to crumble. And we are starting to see the effects of it, with 36% of millennials in favor of communism are warm enough to embrace the possibility. It's a raw deal to have to go to school and spend $100,000 on an education to learn gender studies. Yet that is a choice that some people make. Gender studies has no useful purpose in today's economy. Therefore, why should anybody pay you for something when you're not producing anything but acrimony? This is what is going on and what we have to start to fight against and combat with logic. Communism is a horrific idea. Just go to any former Eastern Bloc country. Just go to China. Just go anywhere where communism has taken hold and freedom and liberty have been stifled. And Prague, you can see the monument to communism, which is perhaps the greatest piece of art I have ever witnessed in person because it tells so much with so little. The forlorn looks on the faces, the people sawed in half, the monument to communism. Read the history of the Soviet Union, of Stalin, of Lenin, of the murderous intent that they have. This is about power for a select group of people, not about creating utopia. Where is your omelet? subscribe to this channel, share this video, let this be known. And peace and blessings to everybody out there. Hit that thumbs up button. Peace.